Okay, we're live.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the formal virtual hearing of the City of Cambridge Committee of Adjustment. Thank you for joining us today as we live stream from the City of Cambridge YouTube channel. If there are any issues with technology tonight, the meeting may be recessed at the direction of a chair or host to confirm that the electronic format is performing effectively before proceeding further with the agenda. Our recording secretary host will complete a roll call of committee adjustment members to confirm attendance. Maria, it's all yours.
Sure. Gerald Menezes.
Present.
Don Drackley.
Present.
Amal Charaf.
Present.
Francis Seward.
Present.
And of course, Sandy Nichols.
Thank you. In addition, we'd like to welcome the staff that we have joining us today. Our Director of Development and Planning is Deanne Fries. Our recording secretary host is Maria Scara. Our new secretary treasurer is Lisa Chomanek. Thanks today to our technology services staff, Greg Elgie, who assists in logistics for today's meeting. As a result of City Hall closures and social distancing guidelines being in place, in-person public attendance at the Committee of Adjustment meeting is not currently available. However, the procedures for electronic participation during the course of an emergency allow for the public to provide written submissions to the City Clerk's office or to the Secretary Treasurer Recording Secretary in advance of the meeting for items of the agenda. The meeting will be conducted as follows. The application will be introduced, followed by a presentation by planning staff. The applicant or agent will then be invited into the meeting to explain their proposal. Following this, the floor will be open to delegates who wish to provide comments on the proposal. Once the committee has heard all the speakers, they will deliberate and make a decision. You are welcome to stay and listen to the discussion. If you want to be informed of the decision for the application you are here for tonight, please ensure that you submit your name to Maria Scara, our recording secretary. Her email can be found on the presentation slides. Decisions will be mailed out within 10 days to everyone who has informed Maria of their name and address. Please note, if anyone is not satisfied with the committee decision, you can appeal the decision to the local planning appeal tribunal. The last date of appeal will be noted on the written decision. Information regarding appealing a decision can be located through the tribunal's website. Some procedural rules before we begin. I am the chairperson for this hearing. All questions or comments shall be addressed through me. All individuals speaking before the committee must state their name for our recording secretary, and please do so clearly. There is a 5-minute time allotment permitted per speaker. And finally, to the committee, I call this meeting to order. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, thank you. We can now move. I guess we're going to be looking at appointing Lisa Chomanek as a new secretary treasurer. If I could have a mover, please. Gerald, you're muted.
I'll move that Lisa be appointed.
Thank you. Seconder? Gerald, you're muted.
I second it.
Sure. Francis seconded it. Thank you. Gerald, you're live now. Okay, thank you. And now we can approve the April 20th and April 22nd. Oh, sorry, it carried. Meeting minutes. If I can have a mover for the minutes. Thank you, Gerald. I can see that you're going to.
Okay, through the chair, I'll move that we approve the minutes of April 20th and 22nd.
Thank you. And a seconder.
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. All right, and so we're on to A34/20 at 223 Samuelson Street. And Lisa has the floor. Just remind her that she's on mute. There you go.
Just 1 second to share my screen there. Okay, can everyone see that?
You bet.
Okay. Okay, so we are on A34/20. This is 223 Samuelson Street. So this application was deferred at the September 2nd Committee of Adjustment meeting to allow the applicant some more time to complete a survey and to confirm the extent of the floodplain limits to the satisfaction of the GRCA. The applicant has completed those items and has requested to come back to this meeting. So the subject property is located in an RM4 zone. Just see here, sorry, in the RM4 zone in the zoning bylaw, which permits a variety of multi-unit residential buildings. It's also designated as low medium density residential with a piece of open space as well under the official plan. So a portion of the property does fall within the Mill Creek floodplain. So the applicant is requesting an extension to a legal non-conforming use to create 2 new studio apartments. The property is currently a double duplex with 4 units. So this proposal will bring it to 6 units total. Under the current bylaw, this would be considered an apartment house, which is not permitted in this zone. However, previous zoning permitted a double duplex, and such it is considered a legal non-conforming. So under section 45.2 of the Planning Act, applications may be made to the Committee of Adjustment with respect to legal non-conforming uses to permit the extension or enlargement of the legal non-conforming use. So as you can see here, this would be the proposed extension. This is already the existing building and a proposed parking area. This is just a site visit view from the front. So you would come down in here and the units would be in the back there. I did want to show the GRCA map here on the regulation limit. So GRCA has requested that this application be deferred again as they're not satisfied with the current proposal. The proposal shows some elements that are contrary to GRCA policies such as habitable floor space and the furnace and boiler room located below the regulatory flood elevation. The new residential parking areas are within the floodplain as well, and there's some concerns about weeping tiles and a sump pump. So as an alternative, GRCA has previously recommended that the applicant explore reconfiguration, possibly of the other units, so they can meet the GRCA policies. So based on the above analysis and the GRCA comments, staff are recommending a deferral on this application. I did want to note that the applicant has requested a longer deferral period. He suggested around 6 months, as he would likely need to go back and reconfigure the entire building.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff on this before we ask a motion for deferral?
And through the chair, I have a quick question. If it was reconfigured as the GRCA has suggested to have the 2 new units at the front of the building, would that satisfy the front yard setback requirements of the bylaw?
I'm not sure without they haven't provided a proposed sketch of what it would look like in the front. So I'm not sure what that would look like at this point.
But that would have to be confirmed in reviewing any alternative plan.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And because this is an extension to a legal non-conforming use, the front yard setback could also be considered in that reduction as an extension in the legal non-conforming setback, if it's legal non-conforming or if it was going to change that.
Through the chair, I have a question. I know this property is located very close to the rail tracks, and I think there was an intention for Canadian National Railway to comment on this. I see that they haven't commented. Is there any relevance to their comment? Do you anticipate any relevance to their comments?
That's correct. We did not receive any feedback from CN.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, if I could have a mover on the deferral.
Through the chair, I'll move that we defer this application for 6 months.
Thank you. And Gerald, or Dawn, I'm sorry, I need a seconder.
Well, first off, Madam Chair, is there any speakers to this?
I don't believe so, because are there?
Through the chair, he has requested not to speak and he's accepted the deferral.
Okay, well then, Madam Chair, I second the deferral motion.
Thank you. If I could have a vote on the deferral, please. All in favor. I'll start with them all.
In favor?
Thank you. Gerald.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. Dawn.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Francis.
I'm in favor of the motion.
There we go. Motion carries. Thank you. We're moving on to A36/21, which is 350 Hesper Road. All yours, Lisa.
Thank you. Okay, so this is 350 Hesper Road. The subject property is located at the northwest corner of Hesper Road and Dunbar Road, and is designated as part of the Hesper Road mixed-use corridor in the official plan. The property is zoned C4, C5 commercial in the zoning bylaw. The C4 permits a variety of retail and service commercial uses, while C5 allows for automobile service stations and gas bars. The subject property is currently a multi-unit commercial plaza with a grocery store and various commercial uses that are to remain. So the existing building is a Tim Hortons that will be demolished, and the variances will facilitate the construction of a new building here. So the applicant is requesting the minimum front yard setback on Hesper Road of 0 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 15 meters. And a minimum exterior yard setback on Dunbar Road of 0 meters, whereas the bylaw requires 15 meters. I did want to note that although the current site plan drawings show a front yard setback of 4 meters and an exterior yard setback of 3.614 meters, the applicant's requesting 0 meter setback to allow for flexibility in the placement of the building on the property. So after further review, staff determined that approving a 0 meter setback would also result in another minor variance for the relief from the landscaping and planting strip provision under section 2.41 of the zoning bylaw. So section 4418(1) of the Planning Act indicates notice is not required if the amendments to the original application is considered minor in nature. Staff are recommending that this be considered a minor amendment to the application, as it remains the same and no further public notice is required. So the planned function of lands designated mixed-use corridor in the official plan is to provide opportunities for transit-oriented development supportive of the regions of Waterloo's rapid transit initiative, so stage 2 LRT, that will help the city achieve the growth management objectives. This development is located along the city's future stage 2 LRT route with a major station area planned for within walking distance. Municipal sidewalks exist on Dunbar and Hesper and connect to the existing Cambridge Centre Transit Terminal. The building is oriented towards the street with parking in the rear, supporting a pedestrian-friendly realm. Allowing for setbacks creates an opportunity to improve and enhance the character of the corridor as the area intensifies and redevelops. The commercial zoning permits the development. However, the current zoning bylaw regulations for front yard and side yard setbacks in this zone are not in keeping with the official plan policies or the policy framework that is being proposed for future development along this corridor, and partly due to the zoning bylaw being from 1985. The future citywide zoning bylaw, which is not yet in effect, will include updated standards to implement the city's official plan. So I wanted to show you some of the elevations here. So this is the south elevation. This would be if you're on Dunbar, looking towards it. This is the west elevation at the bottom here. So this would be looking out towards Farm Boy and the parking lot area. The north elevation, which is 2, has a section of the parking lot looking out towards the Piatto restaurant. And then the east elevation down at the bottom here, this would be what it would look like looking towards Hesper. And these are just some site visits of the current area right now. So based on the above analysis, the City of Cambridge planning staff recommends approval of this minor variance application, subject to the 2 conditions set out in the recommendation report.
Are there any questions of staff before?
Through the chair, I was wondering if we can see those elevations from the east and from the west. I just want to see what it would look like if you were standing on Hesper Road and looking at this building. If you're standing on Hesper Road, is it this east elevation that will?
I don't
That's
think we.
That's correct. It's the bottom one.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, certainly the south elevation is not attractive at all. So what we're looking at is really the the glass, the windows and doors will be on the other side, on the parking lot side. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So the doors here right now are on the west elevation, so facing towards the farm boy.
Okay.
For clarification, sorry, I just want to get this in my head. So the bottom picture, the schematic, if we're looking at that, Dunbar is behind that building, the building then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I don't think that's correct.
No, sorry, Dunbar would be, Hesper would be behind this building right now.
Yes, that's
Right.
what I was thinking. Yeah, okay.
All right, the parking lot and Farm Boy are behind the west elevation.
The parking lot is in front of the west elevation, right in
Correct.
here.
Yes.
I meant the rest
Yeah.
of the parking lot.
The rest of the parking lot is in front of here, the north elevation.
And I got one other question with regards to the site plan review. Where is that at? Like, I mean, are we weeks, months away? What do you anticipate?
I'm actually not sure on that one. I might ask Deanne if she knows.
I would say it's relatively close. I would say it's probably weeks away, not months away.
Okay, thank you.
All right, looks like we're clear at our end. If I believe we've got John that's going to join us this evening. If I could maybe ask everyone to mute when there is a presentation going on, because any of the movement of paper is being picked up and amplified during discussion, that would be super. Thank you. All right, so I guess we are welcoming John.
Yep, let me just limit.
Thanks, Maria.
Is that John McCash?
Yes, correct.
John?
Hello?
Hi, John. You're live on YouTube. You may give a brief presentation of your application.
Welcome, John.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks. Just 1 second, I'll pull something up here. Well, good evening, virtually. We're just making an application that is asking for the variance requested by staff to allow for the construction of the LCBO shown in the drawings that are attached to the application, and simply encourage the Committee of Adjustments to support staff's recommendation report. And unless you need further explanation as to what we're building, it's pretty straightforward. We're removing a Tim Hortons in favor of a new LCBO, which is of a newer design to allow them to better accommodate the Cambridge market. I think something that you should also maybe know about it is that we unilaterally remove 4 meters from the front of our property for the possibility of the LRT sometime maybe over the next decade. This actually had an impact on our property, but we made the decision to do that because we don't want to be confronted with an awkward situation down the road.
Super, thanks, John. Does the committee have any questions for John? Seeing none. Thanks very much, John. We appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, thank you very much.
Committee, are there any questions for staff? Nope. All right then. If I could have a mover on this item, please and thanks.
Now, through the chair, I move that this application be approved with the 2 staff conditions.
Thanks very much, Dawn. A seconder, please.
I second that.
Thank you, Amal. Any further discussion on this item? You're muted, George, if you're talking. George, see, there we go, Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm a little concerned that this application is premature. I mean, we've got a site plan in review. This is a high visibility intersection along Hesper Road. This will in all likelihood become an important light rail transit location. The LCBO is an important destination, and I'm concerned that the variances being requested do not meet 3 of the 4 tests required. To grant complete relief from the landscaping adjacent to the street line under section 2.4, requirements for this important crossroad location goes against the official plan. I also believe that the LCBO would like to do better. And I'm hoping that if we give the landlord some more time, we could get there. My preference would be to defer this application. It's bad enough that we're looking at entertaining blank building walls along Dunbar and Hesper Road in direct contravention of section 5.7 of the official plan. So I'm just not comfortable with this thing at all. I think it's just too aggressive.
I'll
Madam
share.
Chair, if I could comment.
Certainly, thank you.
The applicant is not going to be able to complete and get his site plan review without a decision being made about these setbacks.
Well, you know, as
it will stall everything.
Well, I think the condition, the third variance of eliminating landscaping. We're talking about a major intersection here. I mean, I look at the monstrosity that we have on the corner of Hesper Road and Eagle Street, the dental building. And I can tell you, everybody that comes into Cambridge, comments on that abomination that they see there. It's right, you got, big walls right up against the street, just as you enter into Cambridge. Like, welcome to Cambridge.
I think if I can just point a couple items out from my site visit, is if they were to do plantings along there, the LRT would eventually take them out anyways. And you can't actually have anything that grows with viability due to exhaust and snow removal.
Well, I beg to differ on that because Tim Hortons has, very nice landscaping right now.
At that location?
Yes, take a look. I've been there many, many times. There's some nice shrubs.
Yeah, and is the request for the reduction on the landscaping because of where the LRT is eventually going to come in, Deanne? Are you able to provide that? Oops, she's tied up.
Sorry, was that a question to me?
Yeah, sir, that's okay. The issue on the landscaping and that variance, is that because of, we know that in time it's going to be an LRT route and it would be kind of redundant to put it there and then have to pull it all out?
The request for the 0 setback and the reduced landscaping is to try to align with the future secondary plan for the Hesper corridor, which allows reduced setbacks along.
Okay,
Hesper
that's
Road.
what I was thinking about. Okay. And the other issue, I know that Gerald was concerned with the design being very dry. It's also a security issue there. They cannot have a lot of the windows at the back where it's not facing, so all the windows are lit that are at the front.
No, it's not a security issue.
No.
Yeah, I just think that if they're given more time, they could do a little better. I mean, it's a important location, and I just hate to see a repeat of the dental building that we have at the corner of Hesper Road and Eagle. I mean, that's an absolute monstrosity. That's all. That's my concern. I think
Okay. No, that's why we have these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any further comments before we put forward a motion? No, seeing none. If I could ask for a mover, please.
I believe there was already a mover in the second.
Oh, was there a mover?
For approval.
Oh, sorry.
We're waiting on a seconder.
Waiting on a seconder. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And any further discussion? No, I must have missed that somehow or other. No, if I could have a vote then all in favor, I'll start with them all.
I am in favor.
Thank you. Francis?
I am not in favor.
Okay. Gerald?
Through the chair, I'm not in favor of the motion.
Dawn?
I am in favor of the motion.
Do we have a tie? Yes?
Yeah.
All right. I am in favor of the motion.
So it's
Carried?
carried.
Correct. Moving on to A38/21 Saginaw Subdivision. If I can remind everyone to mute, please. Thank you.
So this subject property is located to the west of Burnett Avenue and is part of the Stage 2 Saginaw Subdivision. The existing property is vacant and undeveloped. The subject lands are two future lots, lot 39 and 40. So the subject property is currently designated as low medium density residential in the city's official plan, with also some open space with special provisions to permit site-specific zoning to allow for residential uses. So the purpose of the variance is to permit two single detached dwellings on the Stage 2 lands to be used as model homes to market the approved subdivision. The model homes will be located within future lots 39 and 40, which are just circled in the bottom there, and a little closer up here. So right now, the entirety of the Stage 2 lands is currently considered as one lot, and therefore would only allow for one dwelling on this entire lot. So the general intent and purpose of the official plan would be maintained as the lands where the model homes will be located are designated for residential purposes. The residential designation, zoning and draft plan of subdivision applications were approved in 2018. Planning staff is of the opinion that the application conforms to the city's official plan as the development aligns with the intended land use. The parcel with the proposed model homes is zoned as R5 residential in the city zoning bylaw. The applicant is seeking relief from the city's zoning bylaw in relation to buildings on separate lots. So the zoning bylaw permits the use of property for residential developments, but regulates the number of buildings per lot. So these model homes, the model homes will be used to market both Stage 1 and 2 lands. So following substantial completion of the residential subdivision, the model homes will then be sold. So the applicant has also indicated that there will be no deficiencies from any of the development standards, so building height, front yard setbacks, anything like that. And so they will all comply with the zoning bylaws. So based on the above, the City of Cambridge planning staff recommends approval of this minor variance application subject to the one condition set out in the recommendation report. I did want to mention there is just a revised condition so that the minor variance application sketch is consistent with the plan submitted with the plan of subdivision.
Thank you. And I believe we have Andrea Sinclair from MHPC joining us.
Yes, let me allow her in.
Thank you.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
You are live on YouTube. You may speak to this application, the Saginaw Subdivision.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Sinclair. I'm a planner at MHBC and here in support of the application. We're in support of the condition as reworded, that the model homes be in compliance with the approved plan of subdivision. So both model homes will be located fully within lots to be created through the first phase of registration. And as noted, this application will allow our client to build 2 model homes in advance of registration occurring. For the committee's benefit, the subdivision official plan amendment, zoning bylaw amendment were all approved in December 2018. We've entered into a pre-servicing agreement with the City of Cambridge, and the lands, the phase in which these lands are located is actively being graded and serviced as we speak. So I think it's a pretty straightforward application. I know in the past, there's been made allowances for more than one model home, and I'm just here to answer any questions that the committee may have this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. Does the committee have any questions of Andrea? Gerald, I think, do you? Because you're muted if you do.
No.
No, okay. Super, thank you. Any questions? Any further opportunity to speak with it? Nope. Thanks very much, Andrea. We appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Maria, do we have anyone else coming this evening?
I'm just getting a text right now to verify. I don't think so.
No?
No.
All right. Any questions of staff before we take it to the floor? Seeing none. If I could have a mover, please.
Through the chair, I'll move that we approve this application with the one condition outlined in the staff report.
Thank you very much, Gerald. A seconder?
I second.
Amal, thank you. Any further discussion, folks? Doesn't look like it. If I can have a vote, all in favor, I will start with Dawn.
I support the approval.
Thank you, Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Francis.
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you, and Amal.
I am in favor of the motion.
Thank you, carried. Now we're looking at A39/21, 11 Banat.
Okay, so 11 Banat, the subject property is located to the west of Fountain Street North on the south side of Banat Road and is currently developed with a single detached residential dwelling. The subject property is designated as rural residential in the official plan and is zoned as RR2, rural residential in the city's zoning bylaw. The applicant is proposing, oops, I'll show you that map there. So the applicant is proposing to construct an accessory garage with an increased height to accommodate extra vehicles, a boat, storage, and the safe shedding of snow. The proposed garage is to be located at the southeast corner of the property, currently where an existing shed is. The existing shed will be demolished and the new accessory garage will be built in the same location. The applicant is also requesting a second driveway where the bylaw only allows for one driveway per residential unit. The rural residential designation permits one single detached dwelling per lot and its accessory uses. So an accessory garage is permitted in this zone area. The proposed height, however, exceeds what is currently permitted in the zoning bylaw. So the height of the structure is proposed to be a maximum of 5.36 meters, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum height of 4.5 meters. The increase in height is required to provide for a taller garage door to fit a boat and for the safe shedding of the snow load. The intent of the height regulation in the zoning bylaw is primarily to limit the impact of oversized accessory structures on neighboring properties and maintain adequate amenity space on the subject property. The property is a large lot which has a significant space to meet the minimum required setbacks and accommodate adequate amenity area on the property. As such, it's in staff's opinion that the proposed accessory garage is appropriate given the location, use, and size of the property. So the applicant is also requesting the variance to permit a second driveway, whereas the zoning bylaw only permits one access driveway per property. The intent of the zoning bylaw with respect to access driveways is to create a uniform streetscape, which reduces the number of driveways in order to maintain adequate open landscape front yards. The subject property has a 36.69 meter frontage and is able to maintain the landscaped open space requirements. So this is the proposed shed that they would like to construct with the height at 5.36 meters at the peak. And this is a site visit photo where they would be requesting the second driveway just to the left here. So City of Cambridge Planning staff recommends approval of this minor variance application subject to the 5 conditions set out in the recommendation report.
Thanks very much.
Madam
Appreciate
Chair,
that,
can
Lisa.
I ask that staff go back to the site visit photo? Lisa, is that big tree going to go for this new driveway?
Oh, it is actually in the plan.
Yeah, the applicant didn't indicate that it would need to be removed.
It would or it wouldn't?
No, that it wouldn't. He didn't indicate
Thank
that
you.
it would be removed in any way.
Through the chair, this structure that's here right now, the left of the tree, what is that? Because I understand
It's a
that's going to be
container.
A shipping container.
okay. So
Secrets.
right. So the access is going to be left of the tree because I think the tree stays in
Yes.
place.
Yeah. Although we have a pretty rough sketch here and to use to confirm that, but that's all we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right at the back of the property, there's a Quonset hut, which is 5.66 meters high. So it's even higher than the proposed garage. And that Quonset hut is taken down to build a new garage.
Right.
All right, it looks like we have Dennis Jerian that's going to delegate for this item.
Yep, let me let him in.
Super, thank you.
Hi, Dennis.
Yes, hello.
Hi, you are live on YouTube. You may speak to your application.
Oh, hello. My name is Dennis Jerian. I am the current owner of 11 Bannock Road. Basically, the site visit photo you have is an old photo of the previous owner that used to live here with the, he's got a storage bin, which he's actually moved over to a vacant lot beside me right at the moment. And basically what I'm looking for is to get the height at 5.36 meters. In other words, would be around the 14'7", because I have a boat that is 10 foot 2 inches tall from the ground to the windshield. So I would require a 12-foot garage door on the and then have it so I can still pull the boat in and out. Also, would like the snow shedding. So I'd like the roof pitch to be a 12.2 roof pitch. My neighbor has, I believe it's like a 12 by 0.5, and there is quite a bit of snow that does build up on top of his garage roof. Any other information? That'd be great.
Sorry, Sandy, you're on mute.
Does the committee have any questions for Dennis?
No.
No. Thanks very much. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, is the tree going to remain?
Yes, the tree in the front of the property is going to remain. There is roughly 22 feet between the tree and the property lot line, and I'm only going to go a 12-foot wide access road at the driveway.
Okay.
Super. Thanks, Dennis. Any other questions? Seeing none, thanks. Appreciate your time this evening, Dennis. You're welcome to continue listening. Is there anyone else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that was joining us, Maria, that wants to delegate on this one?
I have not received any
No?
delegate requests. No.
All right. If I could have a mover.
Madam Chair, I'll move that this application be approved with the 5 staff conditions.
Thank you, Dawn. And a seconder?
I'll second that through the chair.
Thanks, Gerald. Any further discussion, folks? Doesn't look like it. If I could have a vote then, all in favor. Amal?
I am in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Francis.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thanks, Dawn.
I'm in favor of the motion.
And Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you, carried. We're coming up to A40/21, which is 40 Wayne.
Thank you. So this subject property is located north of Pine Bush Road, south of Highway 401 and west of Franklin Boulevard on Wayne Avenue. It's currently developed with a single detached residential dwelling. The subject land is currently designated low medium density residential in the city's official plan, and it's zoned R4 single detached residential in the city's zoning bylaw. The applicant is proposing to construct an accessory garage with an increased height to accommodate the storage of vehicles, a motorhome, and a boat. The low medium density residential designation in the current R4 zone permits the existing single detached residential use and accessory structures. However, the proposed height of the structure exceeds what is currently permitted in the zoning bylaw. The height of the structure is proposed to be a maximum of 6.4 meters, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum of 4.5 meters. Additionally, the accessory structure is proposed to have a maximum lot coverage of 12.5%, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum of 10%. So the intent of the regulation in the zoning bylaw, of the height regulation, in the zoning bylaw is primarily to limit the impact of oversized accessory structures on neighboring properties and maintain adequate amenity space on the subject property. The accessory garage will be located in the rear yard, approximately 20 meters from the principal dwelling, and it's to be utilized for storage purposes. The intent of the zoning bylaw with respect to maximum lot coverage is to ensure that the accessory structure remains at a scale subordinate to the principal dwelling and to ensure there's adequate open space for drainage. This is the site plan here. The proposed accessory building is in the back corner. It backs onto an industrial use area back here. And this is a concept rendering of what the accessory garage will look like, 6.4 meters at its peak there. And that is a Google image from the street there. So City of Cambridge planning staff recommends the approval of this minor variance application subject to the 2 conditions set out in the recommendation report.
Thanks, Lisa. Any questions of staff before we welcome the delegate?
Actually, can we see the pictures before through the chair? Sorry.
The photograph?
Yeah. Yeah, this one. Okay.
And can I see a picture of the street view, please? Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Through the chair, I have a question for
Sure.
staff. Do we have a sketch that can, tell us how the secondary garage structure is going to be accessed, pinpoint the secondary garage on the actual site? And, when I look at this, for example, like it looks like you're going to access the secondary garage from left of this home. And then you come up against the shed and you go like to me, this sketch is quite inadequate for us to make a
Yeah, the picture actually, that's why I was looking at the picture, because from what the sketch shows, you would think they're going to be going from the 4 meters from the corner, right? Because that's where the big door is, unless if it's reoriented. I can't understand the reorientation of the structure.
And it's not a sketch that we can even put in the condition of approval. Like I think this is just, it seems very amateur.
Madam Chair, I have to agree with
So just
Gerald,
to clarify that the sketch is provided for information. The variance is for the height of the structure, not for the reduced setbacks.
Okay.
You see, that's exactly why I'm asking, because the height, in my opinion, doesn't make sense if we are entering from a very small door on the side. That's why the orientation is important, not the setback. I understand the setbacks are more than enough.
Well, we could move forward and then ask those questions of the delegate for clarification on this.
I'm just trying to get him on the line.
Okay.
Okay.
Questions of the
Hi, Dave.
delegate.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I had a hard time connecting.
It's okay. Can you mute your YouTube?
What's that?
Can you mute your YouTube, please?
I have the YouTube on.
Oh, we need you.
Mute it.
Oh, okay. We're trying to mute it.
Thank you. It gives feedback otherwise.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Welcome, Dave. You've got 5 minutes to discuss your application to the committee. Floor is yours.
Okay. So, as you know, I want to build a garage, and like you're saying, that where the garage is going, there's plenty of room. There's going to be a 14-foot door, and you just take a right turn and go into it. I want to have room for my motorhome and boat, and that's basically it. Everything's been on the drawings and stuff. So I'd just be happy to have the application approved. And that's all I have to say, I guess.
Okay, Dave, thank you. The committee has some questions. If you could be kind enough to stay on the line.
Madam Chair, I have a question of Dave.
Sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Dave, could you please describe for us or explain for us how the vehicle access in and out of the garage as shown in your sketch is going to work? Because it looks like the door, the big door, is on the right side of the building near the right property line.
No, the big door is on the it is on the right side of the building, but so I've changed the sketch. The door is actually going on the end of the building instead of the middle.
That would be why. Okay.
With the building permit, I'm going to have the proper location of that door. So we're going to come in on the end of the building instead of the middle. On the south wall, that would be.
Oh, from the narrow side, right? From that side, from where there's the door right now in the sketch, small door.
Yeah, so.
Can you see the picture that's up right now, Dave? It's got a big red arrow on it.
So that's actually where the garage door is, there over on the right. And that's in front of the existing shed that I have back here.
Okay.
So there's plenty of room. Like this lot is it's a half-acre lot. And I can just drive right in there or back my trailers in.
So are you going to be traversing through your backyard to get to it then, I take it?
Yes, it's just going to be occasional because it's for storage, right?
Okay.
Mostly for winter storage and store winter stuff in there in the summer.
So the door that you're going to be going through is actually, if we were standing in front of the building, the door that you're going to use to get in is going to put your equipment in is going to be where? On the left of the building?
It's actually right where it is in the drawing that you have now. It is correct there.
Okay. Thank you. Other questions from committee? Doesn't look like it. Thanks very much. Is there any other questions for Dave? Committee members? No, seeing none. Thank you, Dave. We appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, I'm all good. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are there questions of staff before I ask for a motion?
Through the chair, I guess any concerns we have about setbacks and so on, that'll be covered in the building permit, wouldn't it?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Sorry, no, staff should apply to that, sorry.
So Madam Chair, we're voting basically on the building height and the second access, the second driveway. Okay.
All right, if I could have a motion on the, sorry, go ahead.
It's not second driveway on here, it's just the building height.
Yeah, we're voting on the height.
All right, sorry.
right? That's what the question's about.
And the slightly reduced lot coverage, or slightly increased lot coverage.
Lot coverage, correct. All right, if I could have a mover.
Madam Chair, through you, I'm ready to make a motion.
Thank you, Francis.
I move that the application be accepted, subject to the, I think it's 2 conditions.
Correct. Thank you. A seconder?
Through the chair, I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion, folks?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to stress for the applicant that this motion comes with the 2 conditions, and that is that there can't be home occupation in this garage, and it can't be used for human habitation without a building permit.
Correct.
Good point. Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you.
add that.
Very good. All right, if we can have a vote, all in favor as presented for acceptance with 2 conditions. I'll start with them all.
I am in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Francis.
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Dawn
I'm in favor of the motion.
and Gerald.
To the chair, I'm in favor of the motion, but can we have 3 conditions here? I mean, Dawn has, raised a good point.
We could. We should have added that before we went to a vote, though, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we can amend the motion after we've gone to a vote.
Okay.
Right. But Gerald, I reading between the lines, I think that I understand what you're going at, and that will be addressed. That yeah, on that. So you were approving?
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. So that's unanimous, carried. And we're moving on to A41/21, which is 328 Fur Drive, and Lisa's got the floor.
Thank you. So the subject property is located on the southeast side of Fur Drive, south of Beauchamp Drive, and is currently developed as a single detached residential dwelling with an attached garage. The subject property is designated as low medium density in the official plan and zoned R6 residential in the city's zoning bylaw. So the applicant is proposing to create a 2-bedroom accessory dwelling unit in the basement of the existing home. The applicant is requesting a minor variance for lot area of approximately 400.5 meters square, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 450 meters square to allow for an accessory dwelling unit. The purpose of this variance is to recognize the existing deficient lot size so that a 2-bedroom accessory apartment unit can be constructed in the basement of the existing single detached dwelling. The applicant is also requesting a minor variance to permit lot frontage of approximately 10.7 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 11 meters for an accessory dwelling unit. The intent of the minimum lot area and frontage requirement is to ensure that the property has sufficient amenity space, open space landscaping, and parking for both units. The subject property meets the minimum landscaped open space for the whole lot, and it's in staff's opinion that the proposed lot reduction will not have a negative impact on occupants of the primary or accessory residential units. The applicant is requesting another minor variance for a maximum driveway width of 7.1 meters, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum driveway width of 7 meters. The intent of this provision is to ensure the ability to provide an additional parking space in the driveway while maintaining adequate open landscaping and maintaining streetscape appearance. The applicant is requesting this minor variance as the driveway has already been widened by the applicant. So this variance is required in order to recognize an existing deficiency on the site. So due to the driveway widening, the applicant is also requesting a minor variance for front yard landscaping of 35%, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 45%. The intent of the minimum requirement for front yard open space is to maintain streetscape appearance as well as adequate drainage. The subject property is able to maintain the streetscape appearance, and City of Cambridge Engineering had no concerns with the drainage subject to in relation to the driveway. Lastly, the applicant is requesting a minor variance for an interior yard setback of 0.68 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 1.2 meters. This variance is to accommodate the landing of an existing side yard entrance. So the intent of the zoning bylaw with respect to side yard setbacks is to ensure there's adequate separation between dwellings for maintenance, access to the rear yard, privacy, and consistent streetscape appearance. So the provision of accessory residential units is one measure to help with providing more affordable forms of housing within the city. The need to allow this type of unit is recognized in provincial policy as well as the regional and city official plans. The official plan encourages a range of mixed use of housing types that are affordable and safe. Accessory units may be established where appropriate parking arrangements can be accommodated, is subordinate to the main dwelling unit, and that the accessory unit is compatible with the existing neighborhood. So just on the diagram here, all the requested variances are posted here, and there is a, this is the entrance, is the side, through the side garage, and there is a small landing right in there. This is a concept of the floor plan. So again, they would enter, I don't know if you could see my mouse, but through this area here into the garage, and then the base, the stairs would be off there. These are site visit photos, so from the front, and this is what the side door currently looks like. So City of Cambridge planning staff recommends approval of this minor variance application subject to the 4 conditions set out in the recommendation report.
Sorry,
Thanks.
Sandy, you're
Thanks. Thank you. Any questions of staff
Yes,
at
Madam
this
Chair,
time?
I have a quick question. Lisa, you said that the applicant had widened the driveway. That's where we get the 7.1 meters. Did they require a permit or anything from the city to do that, or did they just do it?
They just did it.
But would they normally have required some sort of permit? Considering that it's a little wider than the bylaw allows?
through the chair. Transportation actually commented on it. As long as they don't touch the envelope at on the road, then they wouldn't require the access permit.
Okay.
Through the chair, I have a question. Actually, can I see the plan again, if you don't mind? This one, yes. What they are asking here, right here, I can see the setback is 125. And if they require a landing, the landing, it's a minimum 86, if I'm not mistaken, 86 or 90. So what's left, it's between 39 and 35. That's not 68. That's going to be very narrow.
Yeah, so it was discussions with building confirmed that, so they sent some more dimensions that they might actually not need a landing. So one of the options would be that they would need to actually cut back that step to be compliant with the building code, or remove the landing. And that's something that would be looked at through the building permit.
Can I see the photograph, please? So how many steps do we have? We're going up 1, 2. Actually, they're going from this side, so you can't really tell. It depends on the slope. Okay.
Through the
Any
chair,
further? Sure, go ahead, Gerald.
a question. So this landing is already in place. Is that correct? I mean, are we looking at a photo of the property, of the applicant?
That is correct. This landing is already in place.
Wow.
That's very narrow. That's not a landing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any further questions before we have Akram join us? No? Thanks very much. All right, Maria, if you want to let Akram in.
Sure. Hi, Akram.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. You are live on YouTube. You may speak to your application.
Hi. I thank you very much, Maria. Good evening, Honorable Chair and Honorable members, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akram Zakiuddin. I'm the owner of 328 Fair Drive. and I'm here today to speak about my application. I'm requesting approval of a minor variance application to finish a 2-bedroom basement apartment at 328 Ford Drive. There are a few points that I want to make. As a responsible and a law-abiding citizen, I want my basement to be done in a right and a proper way by complying to all standards and bylaws set forth by the city, which also gives me a peace of mind that my tenant and everyone living in the house are not at risk from a safety point of view. I have been working on my application since the beginning of February and made all efforts to the best of my capacity by spending time and money to reach to a point where I am today. One example of my efforts is that I have widened my driveway, as mentioned in my application, to meet the city's parking requirement, although I had a choice to include it as a parking variance on my application. But I made a little extra effort to meet the parking requirement as per city's bylaw. The main reason for my project is to support my financial obligations and to provide some kind of financial stability to me and my family. We are a family of 5 with 3 kids, and I am the only earner to support my family, and my job is of contract basis, not a full-time one. I also have additional expenses of providing private therapy to my 6-year-old daughter who is on an autism spectrum and needs extra attention and care, both emotional and financial. Despite of all the challenges that I have been facing, I'm still confident that I will be able to raise enough funds required to complete the project once approved by the committee. And therefore, I request for your approval, which will be of a great help to me to manage my finances. On the other hand, by finishing the basement apartment with your approval, I will be doing my part to make affordable housing a reality, for which I feel happy about. About my the potential future tenant, I want to say that I have a sister who is a single mother with 2 kids, aged 3 and 5, and interested to move into my basement when it's ready. If everything goes as per the plan, my sister will be my future tenant, which actually works well for me as well, since I will also be looking for a tenant who can adjust to the noises and disturbances sometimes in my house due to the sudden emotional outburst of my child with autism. On a longer run, like me and my wife also have a long-term future plan of dedicating this basement unit to our child with autism, who is with autism, when she becomes a grown-up, because we are of the view and we are not too sure whether she can live her life independently in the future. So either she can live in the basement herself, or maybe lease it out as a source of income to support her living in the future. Having said all these points, I'm also aware that some of in my neighborhood have raised their concern about the parking of the vehicles on Fourth Drive on the street, which is a valid concern. I myself being a victim of that problem because it's right across my property. However, I feel sad that, and unfortunate to say that someone wants my application not to be approved. I believe illegal parking on the street is bigger and existing and a separate issue, which is nowhere related to my application of finishing my basement. And my finishing of basement is no way going to contribute to that problem, as I made sure to meet city's parking requirement by widening my driveway to accommodate parking requirements of my future tenant. I also believe that city is well equipped, efficient enough to tackle and address this illegal parking issue by taking various measures. I would also like to mention, as an example, that city had approved a minor variance application of a similar situation, like similar lot area, similar property size on 358 Fur Drive back in 2019. Owner finished the basement and leased it out, and it's not causing any issues to anyone. I want to assure all my neighbors that I am ready to do everything that it takes to make our neighborhood a better and a safer place to live for ourselves and for our children. I have made aware my immediate neighbors about my project, and they showed their full support. I think even one of my neighbors is also on the call today to support my case. I therefore sincerely request the honorable members to please approve my application and make way for my project to become a reality as per the recommendations by the planning staff. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Akram. Do any of the committee members have questions for the applicant? Seeing none, Akram, thank you very much for your time this evening. We appreciate it.
You have a good evening.
Thank you. Maria, do we have a further delegate?
Yes, we have Terry on the line.
Terry, thank you.
Hi, Terry.
Any of the committee members?
Hello, Terry.
Hi.
Hi there. Can I get you to mute your YouTube, please, so we don't get feedback? Thank you. Let us know when you're ready to go.
Oh, hi. I'm Terry Full from the neighborhood of Highland Ridge, actually located quite close to where the application is being submitted. I'm of no concern of the reasons why this gentleman would like to get these variances approved. What I am concerned about is the ripple effect that this will have on the community if it is approved. We've already had a second variance applied within under a month for very similar reasons, and which is around the corner from this home. We also have some traffic concerns in this neighborhood. The house is actually located right near the entrance to one of the medium density townhome areas where there's a significant overflow of parking that's happening and a high rate of traffic that's going in and out of that part of the residential area, as well as the area in which the application has been submitted is still under development. So the traffic realization and traffic congestion is unknown to us at this point in time. We need to consider that this is going to be a main pedestrian area for people who are trying to reach the nature area in behind these homes. It's already very highly trafficked by kids on bikes, pedestrians going to enjoy some nice walks. So, like I said, I'm not opposed to the reasons why he is trying to obtain these variances for affordable home housing for his family. It's just the safety concerns in our neighborhood, as well as if the applicant does move, we are left with an existing duplex. While he may be responsible for being a great neighbor, we can't be assured that the next person will be and the person after that. And also that it could start a snowball effect within the community of getting more applications approved that are not under the same sound reasoning for these variances. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Terry. Are there any questions of the committee for the delegate? No. Thanks very much, Terry. Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Maria, do we have any other delegates?
I'm just confirming, but I don't think so. No.
Thank you. I guess we need a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that this application be refused.
Thank you. A seconder? Francis, I think you're muted.
There we go.
There we go.
Through the chair, I will second that motion.
You'll second? All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Further discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam Chair.
We're going to need to dot our I.
Highland Ridge has been an issue for us for quite some time. Yes, there was a a small lot secondary unit application approved back in 2019. But as we've seen the issues grow and we've heard the neighborhood residents talking about traffic and parking and safety, it's certainly become apparent that the problem is not going away, even to the point where last month, this committee refused a similar application at 404 Fuhr Drive, mainly because of insufficient lot area. So, as I say, the problem isn't going away, and I think this is one way of containing it, is by saying that these lots, which the city admits are deficient lot sizes, should not be converted.
Through the chair, I'll also like to add some comments, if I may.
Sure, please.
This property is located in the high-density R6 zone. There are 5 variances being requested, of which 2 are certainly not minor. The subdivision is miles away from the city core, thereby necessitating the need for vehicle traffic to all of the basic requirements, such as school, grocery, church, temple, medical services, etc., etc. The subdivision is still filling in, with substantially more residential infill to come, which means more traffic to come. Those of us on the committee currently count 8 written objections on the basis of traffic, which leads to safety of children and community well-being concerns. It is acknowledged that the applicant himself, Mr. Akram, did acknowledge that there is currently a parking problem. I believe that this application does not meet 3 of the 4 tests and as such should be refused.
Thank you, Gerald. Very appropriate. And we've got our reasoning here because we have to be very careful with this when we are doing our vote for that. Is there any further comments from the committee? Nope, seeing none. So we have the motion, if I could have a vote. So this is for a decline and refusal. If I could have those in favor of the refusal, I'll start with Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm in support of refusal.
Thank you. Francis?
Yeah, through the chair, I'm in support of the refusal.
Thank you. Dawn?
Through the chair, I'm in support of the refusal.
And Amal?
I am in support
of the refusal. Thank you.
Yeah.
That carries. Sorry, I didn't have my video on. Sorry, that carried unanimously. Thank you. And Maria, do you have enough information between Maria and Lisa as to the reasonings for it?
Yep, I believe so.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. That will move on to A4221, which is 22 St. Andrews Street.
Thank you. The subject property is located west of George Street on the north side of St. Andrews Street. The subject property is designated as a Galt City Center core area and is also located within a regeneration area in the official plan. It is zoned as C1 RM1 in the zoning bylaw, which allows for commercial residential. The subject property currently has an independent residential units in both the lower level and upper level of the existing building. The ground floor area is currently vacant and it was intended to be used for commercial purposes when the structure was first built. The applicant is proposing to convert the subject property into a triplex by turning the main floor into a residential unit. So the proposal will exceed the 2/3 commercial to residential area ratio requirement within the zoning bylaw and requires meeting all of the RM1 site development specifications for detached triplex dwellings. So this property was constructed on the basis of variances previously granted by the Committee of Adjustment on July 11th, 2018 through application A3118. So the applicant is proposing no changes to the exterior building and site, and only internal improvements are being proposed to the ground level at this time. So reconsideration of previously granted variances must be given to determine if they are appropriate for the triplex. So the applicant is requesting a minimum frontage of 14.08 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 15 meters for this zone. The intent of the frontage requirement is to ensure that the property has sufficient amenity space and open space landscaping. The committee previously approved the same reduction through minor variance A3118. However, it was specific to a duplex. The lot frontage requirement of 15 meters is the same for a detached triplex, and the lot is already existing. The adjacent properties have varying frontages with limited open space landscaping, with the property to the west having a similar frontage. The applicant is also requesting a minimum front yard of 3.05 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 6 meters. The committee again previously approved through application A3118, approved a reduction down to 2.74 meters, but the current survey plan actually illustrates an existing setback of 3.05 meters. The past variance again is not applicable as it was related to a duplex, and this requested variance would recognize the existing condition. The applicant is also requesting a minimum landscaped open space of 28.3%, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 30%. The intent of the minimum open space landscaping requirement is to ensure that the property has sufficient unobstructed amenity space to provide a balance between the built and natural environments and to maintain streetscape appearance and adequate drainage. The committee again previously approved a reduction, but it was specific to a duplex. The 30% requirement is applicable to both a duplex and triplex. So again, no site conditions are being changed, and this variance is being requested solely to recognize the use of the ground floor area as a residential unit and not a commercial unit. The applicant is also requesting a minimum lot area of 497.3 square meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 550 square meters. The purpose of the minimum lot area requirement is to ensure that the property has sufficient amenity space, open space landscaping, and parking for both units. The subject property can accommodate the parking requirements and already had an approved minor variance for reduction in landscaping open space. And lastly, the applicant is also requesting an encroachment into the front yard setback of 1.22 meters for existing steps in a canopy, whereas the bylaw permits a minimum encroachment of 0.5 meters. The committee previously approved this variance as it was related to the use of the property as a duplex and not a triplex. The dwelling has the front door oriented to the street with the front steps and canopy encroaching into the required yard and reducing the landscape open space area. This is just a drawing of the existing building, indicating all the minor variances and the reliefs.
Can you flip back to the photograph once more?
Oh, the one above? Or?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay, so this is existing site conditions right now. So this is facing St. Andrews, and this is an angle from Google on this one from St. George Street. Oops. Okay. So the City of Cambridge Planning staff recommends approval of this. Oh, I'm sorry, I think that's the wrong slide there. Let me just pull it up. Sorry, I think I have the wrong slide on there, so I'm just going to read what the approval is from the report. Sorry, my apologies, I'm just pulling it up.
Okay.
Okay. So City of Cambridge Planning staff recommends approval of this minor variance application based on the subject to the one condition, so that a building permit be obtained prior to the conversion of the space and occupancy of the unit for residential purposes.
Super, thank you. Are there questions of staff before we invite Mr. Patterson in? Does not appear to be. Do we have him on the line, Maria?
Yep, I will let him in.
Super, thank you.
Subject to the one condition, so that
Hi, Scott.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you? Can you mute your
I'm good,
YouTube,
thanks.
please?
I'm doing it right now.
Perfect.
Welcome, Scott. The floor is yours. You've got 5 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of committee. As noted, my name is Scott Patterson, and I'm with Patterson Planning Consultants, Inc. Here tonight representing the property owner. Nothing further to add to the staff's recommendation and their presentation. And here tonight, naturally, in full support of the recommendation for approval, recognizing the one condition that will be imposed. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them for committee.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Patterson? Fairly straightforward. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion? Or is there anyone else, Maria, that wishes to speak?
No, I have not received any registered delegates.
Okay, thank you.
For this application.
All right. If we could have a mover and a seconder. Don't be shy.
Through the chair, I'll move that we approve this application with the one condition outlined in the staff recommendation report.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Madam Chair, I'll second that.
Thank you very much. If we could have a vote, all in favor for approval with the one condition as noted, we'll start with Dawn.
Madam Chair, I support the approval.
Thank you, Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the approval.
Thanks, Francis. Unmute.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. And Amal?
I am in favor of the motion.
Super. Carried unanimously. Thank you. And we're moving on to B0221 and B0321, which is 172 Forest Road. And this is a dual application.
Thank you. So this is 172 Forest Road. So this application was deferred by the request of the applicant at the March 10th Committee of Adjustment meeting. And that was to allow the applicant some more time to consult with staff and the agencies regarding the conditions that were presented. So this subject property is located north of Victoria Avenue on the west side of Forest Road. The property is designated as low medium density residential in the city's official plan. These lands and the adjacent church property are subject to zoning bylaw amendment that was approved by council on March 2nd, 2021, and has passed the appeal period. So there is a holding provision on the zoning at the request of the region of Waterloo, as the applicant must submit an archaeological assessment and acknowledgement letter from the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Sport. So the rezoning of the parcel with the home on it in this area here. So it rezoned it from R5 to R6. And it also took a portion of the church property lands here, a portion of the residential property and rezoned it into N1 R5 to be part of the church parking lot expansion. So the property currently contains a single detached home, which is to be demolished, and two new lots, 4 single detached homes are proposed to replace the existing home. So one of the main objectives of the city's official plan is to direct a larger portion of new development to existing urban areas as a more cost-effective and sustainable form of new development. The subject property is located within the designated built-up area. As such, it's in the opinion of staff that the proposal represents efficient development that can take advantage of existing municipal services. The zoning on the remaining residential portion is R6, which has a minimum required frontage of 9 meters and a minimum lot area of 270 square meters. So as such, no minor variances are required as a result of the severance, as the proposal complies with the R6 zoning regulations. The proposal also conforms to the City of Cambridge official plan in regards to the expansion of an institutional use and intensification, minor intensification within an existing residential neighborhood. So as previously mentioned, the proposed concept plans for the residential dwellings, as you can see on the sketch here, they will conform, or they do conform to all the site development specifications for the R6 zone. So I just wanted to go over once more. So it's the lot in here that will be severed into 2 parcels, and then this lot here, so parcel C will merge with parcel D. And there's a church here, and they will be taking this for a parking lot expansion. And that is a Google image of the current property there. So City of Cambridge Planning Staff recommends approval of this severance application subject to the 11 conditions set out in the recommendation report.
Thank you. Are there questions of staff before we invite Andrea in?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a quick question, just out of curiosity. Does staff know why the region is requiring an archaeological assessment?
I was thinking the same thing.
Through the chair, I believe one of the adjacent properties is a listed heritage property, which is one of the reasons why they're requesting the archaeological assessment.
But if it's a heritage property, it would have a heritage assessment. Archaeology is a totally different subject.
That's what the region has required.
Like around here, archaeological assessments usually focus on First Nations interests near the Grand River, by the way. I was just curious. It just seems like an odd.
It's it is a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been a burial site on.
With the church, you mean, like back earlier?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting.
Right.
Okay. All right. Probably erring on the side of caution. So, all right. Anything further? Sure. Go ahead, Gerald. Sorry.
I just want to clarify that are they 10 conditions or 11 conditions? 11. Okay. Because I can see 10. But...
Right, Gerald, I think you're correct. There is in the report, it's 10 conditions.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So there's 10. Super. I guess we're ready for Andrea to join us. Thank you.
I'll allow her in. Hi again, Andrea.
Good evening again, everyone.
Welcome, Andrea.
I'm feeling like a series regular over these last few months with this committee. And I keep forgetting that none of you know what I look like, but I know what all of you look like really well by now. So thank you. So this application was deferred. We had some concerns with the original conditions and just wanted to really thank staff at the City of Cambridge for working with us, and we're now fully in support of the conditions as revised and brought forward tonight. Just on the discussion on the archaeology, we would have loved to have gotten out of that requirement from the region. It did seem sort of, I don't know, I think the region just errs on the side of caution, and I do believe it was because there was a church, although this church is a more modern church, and the assessment has been completed and confirmed there's no archaeological potential. We just don't have the ministry clearance yet. So we're not concerned that there's going to be any archaeological potential, but until we get the ministry clearance, we're stuck with that holding provision. But again, we're fully in support of the staff recommendation and all the conditions, and once again are thankful that staff are willing to work with us through those conditions, and our clients are now satisfied with the outcome this evening. So I'm here to answer any other questions, and look forward to the committee's decision. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. Questions for Andrea? Nope, everybody's shaking their head that can. All right, Andrea, thanks very much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Any further discussion before we take it? And we're going to take this individually. So it'll be 0221 first that's going to come forward.
We actually have a delegate.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. If
Okay,
Andrea
way ahead of
can get on the
myself.
line, just in case.
Okay. One
So
time I don't ask.
We have Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hi there.
Hi, you are live on YouTube. You may speak to 172 Forest Road or ask any questions.
Okay. So I really just have one question. There's quite a bit of elevation there. How are they going to like offset that? Will there be a retaining wall built in to prevent land erosion coming from the houses beside that? Or are they going to add, like, put them on a hill? Like, how is that going to work?
Andrea, are you able to answer that one?
I will do my best. I'm not an engineer, but through the broader site plan that's been submitted and is being worked through with the city, there was full grading plans and engineering plans submitted that will address the grading of these lands as well. And then through the conditions, we'll have to satisfy engineering at the city for servicing and grading and all those matters. So I don't know the exact solution to it. I just know that that's all being thoroughly reviewed, and there is a requirement to make sure that the grading is done in a way that will not, negatively impact other properties in terms of things like ponding or the way the water is going to drain.
Is there going to be any negative impact on how the trees are along that lot line between the two houses to the, I guess, the right of that address, both the heritage unit behind 17 Osborne and then the one on Forest, because there's quite a few trees there, as well as already a retaining wall that's starting like deteriorating between the two properties.
And there is, again, through the site plan application, there was a requirement to prepare a tree management plan. So any trees that are to be removed as part of the site plan application and will be impacted, that they're required to get the tree permits from the city, and replacement trees will be required.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Any other questions?
Nope, that's everything.
Okay, thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Maria, anybody else before I stick my foot in my mouth?
No, we have not received any other.
Wonderful. All right, so we're going to take, I'll need a mover and a seconder for the first one, which is B02/21. Anybody?
Madam Chair, I'm ready to make a motion.
Thank you, Francis.
I move that the application be accepted. What number is it again? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's B02/21.
Yeah, B02/21, subject to any conditions. And I'm trying to see how many conditions there were.
10.
10 conditions.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Through the chair, I will second that motion.
Sure. Thank you very much. Any further conversation regarding this one, folks? No, if I can have a vote, all in favor of the approval. I'll start with Francis.
I'm in favor of the approval.
Thank you. Amal?
I am in favor of the approval.
Thanks. Gerald?
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the approval motion.
And Dawn?
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the approval motion.
Thank you. Carried. Moving on to B03/21, again for 172 Forest. If I could have a motion on the floor, please.
Through the chair, I'm ready to make a motion.
Thank you, Amal.
I move to approve.
Thank you. A seconder, please. Anybody?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Francis. We have a seconder. Any further discussion on this one, folks? Seeing none, if I could have a vote, all in favor, I'll start with them all.
I am in favor.
Thank you, Francis.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Dawn.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you, and Gerald.
Through the chair, I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. Carried unanimously. Approved. Thank you. This concludes the delegates for this evening. We will now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is committee business. Which I don't know if we have any. Do we have any?
I just wanted to say that 12 Delgrove, which was an accessory dwelling unit, is scheduled for May 27th at the local planning tribunal.
Okay.
As well as 225 River Forks. That was an accessory dwelling unit as well. That is scheduled September 15th.
All right. Oh, I was going to ask something. I can't remember what it was now.
So I have a question with regards to that. Does the city, will the city be represented, or is it going to be like the last one we had?
The city does not attend these hearings unless they are summoned.
Okay.
And if the city or if the staff that wrote the report is summoned, then they have to represent their planning report, not the committee's decision.
Okay. Thank you. It's good to know.
On that question, if I could ask Deanne, is there any circumstances that the planning tribunal where a committee of adjustment is called to a report on its decision?
No, if council directs planning representation to be retained for representation of a committee's decision, then they can do that, but they only do that in very rare situations where it's of particular city interest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I remember what my question was. Remember we had an application earlier last year where he wanted to build that massive garage. I think it was on Ronald. Did that go to the tribunal?
I believe that was Leslie. We haven't gotten
no.
a decision for that yet. They went to the tribunal, but we haven't.
Did. Okay, thanks.
Decision.
Just thinking of his poor neighbor. Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Do we have anything further, or should I have a motion for a close of the meeting?
Just a question of curiosity, like what's the cost to go to the tribunal? Is there a fee that an applicant has to pay?
Yes, there is a fee. I'm trying to remember what it is offhand.
I think it's $2,000.
Okay.
Is it 2,000 for the just for the appeal now? Wow.
For the appeal, the fee is 400, but to some, I guess, some in planning staff, it's
yeah. So 400 to the OMB. That's the one I was thinking of. Or
okay.
Yeah.
Plus whatever legal representation they might have.
Right.
Okay, so it's really not punitive. I mean, I can see just about every applicant saying, well, why not spend another $400?
Yeah, and in fairness to them, that is reasonable.
Right.
Right. But it's just unfortunately, if homeowners don't have the opportunity to voice their displeasure, which means they have to take their time to go to the tribunal, it's what it is, I'm afraid. All right, if I could have a motion for close of meeting. Moved by anybody?
Madam Chair, I'll move that the meeting be closed.
Thank you. A seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Gerald. All in favor? No, just kidding. We're adjourned. We're adjourned.
All right. Thank you, guys.
And our next meeting, as a reminder, is June the 23rd. I'm good for that one. Hopefully everybody else is. Lisa, bang up job. Thank you very much.
And if we end up with another situation where we have too many applications, then Lisa can work to schedule 2 meetings for that as well.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, folks. Nice to meet you.